Welcome to this week's fun activity in five. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very simple weather routine that I've been doing with my exploratory class this year. You could very easily level this up, and I'll tell you how you can level it up for your other classes. But for my exploratory, we're focusing on the very bare minimum. And like getting them into something that they care about. We are currently talking about the weather in the city where we live and creating a forecast for the city that we live or another city of their choosing. So, the way that we've kind of built up to that little mini project of doing a weather forecast for a city that we live in or a city that we care about is by doing a little bit of a weather chat. Not every day, probably every other day, at least 2 days a week, but we're not doing it daily. Part of the reason we don't do it daily is I do want that engagement factor. And if you are unaware, I live in Colorado, and in Colorado, the weather is the same pretty much every day. It is pretty much sunny. In the month of March, which is when this recording is happening, it is pretty much windy. Some days it's hot, some days it's cold, but as long as it's sunny, the kids pretty much will say that it's hot. They won't say that it's cold outside because it doesn't feel cold. Occasionally we'll get a snowy day, but like rain doesn't happen very rarely in Colorado, especially during the school year. So I don't want them to get bored by saying it's sunny, it's sunny, it's sunny, it's sunny every day. So we don't do it every day. And I'm going to show you what these slides look like. So when I pull these up, this is what students would see. So they would see this slide right here, Que tiempo hace in Denver, Colorado, where we live. And I will go through each one of these. They are at the point where they can just answer this question, Que tiempo hace calor. Like they're very much at the place where they can do that. However, I still want them to get some practice with those other words. So hace sol, it's sunny. I'll ask them, clase, hace sol, sí or no? Hay nieve, sí or no? Part of the reason I do hay nieve is because they can answer and say, oh, on the ground. Like it's not snowing right now, but it snowed overnight, or it snowed yesterday, or it hasn't snowed for a week, but there's still snow on the ground. Just to give them some practice getting those words. We talk a lot about hace calor and hace frío because in Colorado, it pretty much always feels hot, even when it's 30 degrees outside. So a lot of times I'll say, oh, like you think it's hot? Well, what do you think the temperature is outside? And we always play guess the temperature. They see this slide and we say, ¿Cuál es la temperatura? And I have them guess for many days in Colorado, especially in the month of March when it's super windy outside. We'll play what's the real temperature and what's the feel temperature. And it's just a good way for them to get some extra practice of numbers. Sometimes there's a big difference in the feel and the real temperature. And so it's a nice way to say, like, oh, it's 43 degrees outside, but it feels like 21, or it's 20 degrees outside, but it feels like it's 27. Just for them to get extra practice with numbers instead of having to wait till tomorrow to do the weather again. It's a way that I can go ahead and like get some extra practice in. They do see the slide when we do it. So they see their numbers in increments of 10, and they also have 5 on there. For the most part, they know numbers 1 through 10. And very rarely is it under 20 degrees, except for the feel. And those numbers, as you can see, are right behind me on the wall. When we do weather, we play closest wins a prize. And I typically have cute little, right now I have dog stickers. So I'll give a sticker to the person that gets the closest, but we'll say like, what do you think the temperature is? Oh, 63. Okay, next person, are you going higher or are you going lower? Oh, you're going lower. What do you think? And we'll play closest without going over wins. Sometimes we'll do the feel. We'll play closest without going over wins. And just these are from Amazon, just a nice, easy way to kind of give them a little bit of a prize for engaging and staying with it. So if you are not teaching exploratory and you're wanting a little bit of a higher level, these slides I use for capitals of the Spanish speaking world. I use the exact same slides to kind of introduce my students to different places where Spanish is spoken, the capitals, the flags, the countries, where the capital is in the country, things like that. And I will link to those in the description of this video. If you're interested in checking those out, those are available in my Teachers Be Teachers store. Just a great way to kind of mix in some culture with some weather and talk about some other things like how the equator flips the seasons, It could be snowing in Chile, but it could be 90 degrees here in Colorado. Why? Oh, because the seasons are opposite. So it's just a great way to kind of level that up a little bit. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Fun Activities in 5, and I hope to see you next week.